At this day, wailing through these problems, just coming around, wailing through the situations still dealing with, is exactly more than any other time to naturally trying to put in orders so much things like it means living. And living so means go around, making any class of a circumstantial elemental clear fact as the senses and our bodies can simply come to need fulfilling. I'm sorry for this, fulfilling will be the term. Realities for the this way, which is no idioms, no morphology, and it's no mix. How much times that communications can deliver so much things which are not really best. The same fulfill, suddenly it can be understood that the term at a point for what it's heard, but clearly is fulfilled. And suddenly we're a very so instant in the middle of so much things I'm coming through with my state of still trying to hold pieces of mind around my path I just walked through. And I'm sorry for the reality to say what a very significance instant for. We understand whether we communicate with each other whenever we know who we are and what we say and how do we mean. But even though the communications can be in a distortion that can really mean differences, we are fighting for this to be understood and clear enough. And the clear fact of this all still remains the clear of our days in the meaning of who we are and what this all comes to be. I have been through so much evil, and the evil were in face of pretender of authorities of the God, and still does in a very hell-leaking existence in flesh and bones that they are, playing the supper divines and the poor ones, playing the authorities and the wrecked discipliners, and the caters for supposed justice. What helps to Hestalt and demons making what demons they are, what they need, and profaning what is for holiness and for the name of Eladon, which Ruachalain does not admit, and gives payments, even to this ones, demons, with title of evangelicals, and pretended considered of authorities of the God, judges and prophets, or anointed. Now, the reality is between what is called evangelicals, we have been trying to do something like sometimes I rather not say a word because of the exposition at the murder, which this proceeds by making is something I cannot deal with. And it were every days with no light torture for my person, knowing destructions, murders, and so often I try to put them out. And so this evangelicals sickness making the supporting for the extortions and the destructions. You know, we have been working, like you already know, with GovEU, with GovUS, with GovRussia. We have been working with states, bodies, United Nations. We have been working with liaison office. And one thing that I saw so long is that even at the worst moment, everyone were afforded, and afforded to try to do the right job. We had problems, people were with mistakes, others were feeling tired, others were really damagedly, suffering so much. But the permanential reality where I know love and I know worthy for real. I know the real instituted and I know precious in my life. It's something that I'm saying to you, grateful for the whole of the effort, for the making this to have sense in the whole of the senses and way to remain until this day. And something to have encouragedly, strongly, breathly for more, at the best ever take that long, vigorized enough to proceed carefully and wisely, as we know we can do. This is something I can really not tell. All through these days I have been waiting so long. This is this audacious reality, which is a very weird, rare thing. You know, this story we were discussing and talking about with the name of a very Spanish man, which is a very awesome person, forgive me again. And this real awesome person have been fighting life as well, so long time, and still does, and is embraced by the care, and so be. And he sang this song, which were a true story over the war times, all through. One which were very recruited for the making, the defension and front lines for. Promised to this woman Penelope that he would ever just come back and would ever marry her. And suddenly happened this reality what shit like in Hermine, the town where she were living, expecting while every day is coming to the train station expecting for them to come back, were destroyed by the same Nazis. And all through she just ran in a very shocked, and thinking the possibilities he would be dead, just stood at the train station where nobody ever went through, and remained so long until last days. And she stood there with a very Redemi which were a very clever Massinese, Gengelia, a very clever Masvasevat, so special, so delegated, a very Klichnitim heals. Blefes mochtiki machave fochwadu de sosevish vasechmatim, lentika machave fechot sasim, in the station where nobody went through, seeking for provisions, and stood there, and went every morning, and just stood right in the Blifach Visach Motsenim, way 4, Blefesfad at the north of France, way to Switzerland. And she stood there all through as the times the war concluded, which were a long time. And she used to go into a very bench, be nearing the reels, right at the path through what the DEC normally. And in the middle of this, she heard, while 8 months after war declared over, a very train rolling through the reels and making the right lefty sound, which used to be at the moment so still, the old stektikar vishvasimir. And in the middle of that all, she saw the train, and she stood right in the stektikar vishsmad, that bench, the train station, with lengerismo krivismo södlevismo matlevismo legisvasev, in a very state of deplorable need, and not really in conditions. And suddenly came he and went through and saw her and ran into her, telling her, hey, I'm back. Let's come to home. We have a lot to talk. We have too much to do. And I need you for my wife. And whenever she saw him, she were shocked enough of the whole of the realities, with nothing but the memory of something that she didn't want to take back. And telling to him, I don't know you, I don't know who you are. And she stood there, and he went for help, and help were not existing no more because of the town were completely destroyed. And she stood right in the station, train station, with the expectation for some time to see the times she said goodbye, at the moment that she couldn't ignore. I'm telling you one thing. All through this, a lot of people go through such a situations like this. I hope it don't have to happen to me. At the reality of what the picture is social, as painful, as the reality of what this meant, this is, at the clear fact of what certain things produces in a person's living days and through conscience and the state of a person. But I'm telling you one thing, I have been suffering war, and not only I. And this is really not nice. The war where Gestaltica, where Nazi, trying to take the world like we're taking Paris, to the one son of the abomination then, with the Hitler name, have done. And this proceeded for the making of the worst styling Southern Mar, una sur ejército argentino, Kirchner's. What they tried to do to us with United Evangelicals. The whole but which we cannot train to put in at the safe. This is not over, keeps on happening. I have been destroyed permanently. We just shared something which seemed like I will be delivering. And third, with this, evangelicals of Guillermo de Sucre, Osvaldo Carnival, Carlos Anacondia, Omar Cabrera, to make images to me, still for more at the profanation, and some readers telling that they will take my place, and the bodies of them, Sodoma, that they will teach me to sing. That everything I will do will be them, and nothing I will exist but them, and they will be singing now what they says they already knows how I do. And making this for more instigations for murder, and for taking my people like hostages, and be robbing them permanently and murdering them at the business of this sickness, and pretending the whole of the justice bodies are testically, to have to pay them because if I will rob them, and they will do, singing like me. This biased sickness of a proste breed, and I'm sorry for this violence, doesn't recognize no borders, no respect, are feral. Like feral animals, not fierce, feral. Meaning this, recognizes where is the authority, recognizes where is the order of the place, and needs coloring and strategizing and watching and studying when the moment of attack, to reduce, to destroy until murder, to take the domain on. This is exactly what this whole arm does. And there are a lot of victims that I need to rescue, but not justifiable. Now, is permanently the same at the fog of the I will the liar, untouched, unfaced, crustless. At the clear of the every time just the dati kret bashvet me, and every day making the same. It's exactly the class of the things that were happening to my people all through Hitler were doing what have done. And Gestaltica birthed right there for abominations making like this are doing permanently to me and to everybody. Gestalt is Nazi school over the whole abominations those abominables have done and breathe it. And still this, there's to keep on doing. Gestalt is not blessed. Gestalt is abomination. And that what beneficial seems like only delivers into more destructions and abominations. All we see is the concerned state of reason that is delimited at what Gestalt delivers. Nothing else is accepted. And we don't need no abominations. Now, clear for the soul, everything kept on the way. The suffers and the pains are not really at the and I came to feeling certain Penelope-like. And I am not willing for them like this. And neither setting our people and the people in need to go for in no state similar liking and nothing at all. But the normal, real understanding. Another reality for this is certain clear facts that permanently is this class of ambience and opportunism, that also certain clear facts around what it is the sensitiveness using for at the whole of the ways, and the sensitiveness to that recreating and making what is needed for they to domino possess, destroying, ruining like pharaohs until corrupting and delivering into clouds for the worthy and for the treasures. And it's something I'm not willing to let go or let be. At all. And you understand what I mean, let go. The reality of who we are and the reality of whatever mean worthy treasures. Or simply let go of the situation and not do nothing about it. Is the simplicity for the whole that every day we went through, and no changes around found, except for the same destructions that I don't want to see no more. Where murdering families completes, kids, mothers, fathers, friends, sisters, brothers, teenagers, grandmothers, grandfathers, communities, responsibles, governors, were murdering peoples in ways of they will do to me. And I will be killed and I will be the beast for this to be introduced. The problem is, Cristianos evangelistas have done this to me. The problem is, victims has nothing to pay. And the problem is, my people didn't have to die, the ones that died. And nobody has to die for such a very abominable ones. Which told and shown and clear, they proceeded, but making the same with the self-understanding and reality for the taking anybody's lives, suppress, destroy, burning, murder, genocide, and taking place of dominion, possessions, and feeling fulfilled in life, which is Argentina today. And the whole of them associated, and no one stops. And in the middle of this all, I come to see this all, and I am in torture because if I know people is dying. And whatever the argument for this class of a sickness is worthy and works to them. Like that I will ever just not giving no attention, and I will ever have to be in permanent condition of murmur and lamentation over loss memorial class. And permanently not doing nothing else, I were not allowed to do nothing. If I will be Eliyah, which I am, Eliyah. The reality is that I shall ever be just with ashes and suffer at my backs. And I have done that already, and they were treated like cycle. And I smelled terrible, but were the beginning of the seal of what it came. Christian, and nothing Christian is Archai, Nidraya. And the reality of the soul delivered seemed to, once I'd done that, the world started to having the compulsive, clear fact of seeking for expectations and solutions and the murmurs and the rumors and the right point of the suspiciously something were happening with not knowing what were. And everybody started to making a quest with not knowing what we're seeking, and we're nothing like this. And Eladon started to taking everyone. And there is this testimony, and it's no lie. And when I ever started to making my job, and when I ever started to doing what I just started to do, everything started to having a point, and Adonai didn't renew, but endorsed. Were happening a lot of things and situations and everything were like a lie. And were a lot of and Adonai leaded for the Megillah chat and seals were broken. And the clear fact of the whole development started happening with the judgments and the whole of the effort in the chat. So much time, so much pain. And I never stopped to being robbed, denigrated, destroyed, defamated, extortioned, trampled, abused, profaned. Put it like a piece of a cord, mobile of sickness and abominations, and were always evangelicals of Guillermo Perinos, Pablo Carnival, Carlos Enacondio, Mar Cabrera, Juan Crudo, and associated. Propitiating the destructions of my people and saying that they were intense to fighting because of I already were here, and I had to answer to them. Reality for the point of this is the clear fact of the elemental understanding doesn't catch the reality which our conscience to get. Once the elemental move about obstinately obsession in a time the person is broken. Even though abducted, even though corrupted, because of El Chai makes the job. And the reality of abduction has spaces of understanding. And even abducted obstinately, obsessed and with whatever the anger and rage. And even if there are any condition as called recurrently mental, the person breaks up and gets broken and broken in the whole of the senses and takes understanding at the point too in a moment, falls at grounds, crumbles and stops, and needs and screams and seeks for help. Whenever this is permanently, obstinately for words and to words is because of there is the conscience, the understanding, the will, and a very dangerous field. Tricky liars and criminals, pharaohs. And it's exactly this class. Now the reality is the state of corruption delivered at the point for the destruction and the pain causing, hostilizing permanently and delivered into captured and cannot get out. And that is permanent healing being. And it's really impossible to deal with such a situation and how possibly something which it means. But there also is used for this ones. Obstinately no one stops and proceeds about to make a mistake. No. Even though everything seems like plausibility at the reason of whatever the ambient to moving, even though you understand they are, the sickness we understand. Always you get the clear fact, while any elemental view of I command, I am the authority, I am the doctor. I am the cop. I have the titles. Let's put it in clear. There is this elemental need we can understand. The real fact of the saying I am doesn't have to be a very element of crime of any clear point to show whatever making this class of things. Once you identify yourself and you say, okay, I am, but the reality is the precedence and procedence, and precedently the ones that proceeds to the making okay, respect, treating, and normal are the ones that are called authorities, institutionalizable, healthy, and reasonably clear fact of state of judgment for the making a good, normal, respectful, honorable, ethic reality through responsibilities and actions toward work as anybody does normally. Now, the clear fact is not everybody is the same, and so much times we cross by life situations which are not easy to deal with, so suddenly you can have a moment to say, okay, I am. Let me do my job, or I know what I'm doing. If anything is wrong, I promise you I'm gonna check it, but please. Another thing is, I comment here, and it's what I say, no matter what, in a state of a very brazen, ever abominable criminal cycle, obstinately, completely morbously, in the satisfaction to destroy lives for the making what they says they commands, which is Argentina and Venezuela, and then associated all with evangelicals, everyone, but victims. So in the middle of this, there is exactly this which I wish to say something. Elementally, we have been through this so long about between line in, line out, which it is, feral, sickness, destruction, and institutionalized by El High for the proceed about crossing lines if fooled, destruction, and ferally trying to domain all taking. Lifetime history is exactly history words of humanity. And through this reality is exactly the point of what every day we were saying no. And the point is, what do we hold from? And suddenly we can remember what it were Vanskar, with not going no farther. And at Vanskar, in an instant, where plefaridis fokomat lehibi harvest of shepherd is as if. So through this comes one thing to put in clear. At Snarot, were exactly the reality which delivered for the point of I am here, don't you tear the personal line, I am not sell team. I'm gonna analyzing the situation and I'm gonna act forwarding institutions, orders, just this. And Salaut were requesting, I am not convinced about what you say, and I am knowing what is going on, and I'm going to act forwarding, and you're going to know of me, and you better please yourself because of I command. And the one covered the 82% of the population, and the second murdered the 81%. And the population covered didn't have nothing but normal. And the 81 murdered were victims. Because of that, big Leco regime needed power in the main. And the people didn't want. So, all through this, we can mention Torah, you want. So blevi forma sechalekimi revesvu chavel bleviso sechleki lishasim. The reality, Arafal, not Arafat, Arafal. While though 1204 Jewish year, this comes all through seasons and seasons into the Blitlas bed, and asking to the instituted by Chayden to giving letters Badet Bleformasim, and listen what I'm telling, letters. In the ancient what wherefore the Holocaust called Pesach. The leather wherefore making bleki v'resechlakimisim and testimonials. And letters were requested with a blefartichminisim with the stamp to deliver. Were official. So bleki marver v'fechut blebech machal chalevi v'o blebesose bleki v'cheteshvot ledismaseva. In klaki v'chmansena. Blefosem chavetmi v'sevam. Element stamped and sealed for Pesach. Credible in front of the instituted by the Chai. So plebe formasachili v'achtika magrevefechua blevesosech shvaselegimitzem. Lektika grevefechu blevesosech ma blevispot levisotshla. Chaleki magrevefach chalekivesosech levisoshev. In last month. And this instituted said, I only hear orders of El Chai and the reality of Aplek Esvetlech Hadleki Mitzelet Shoal Charlim. And this real law we have doesn't give institution and neither instauration for no class of realities, all through provoking spaces to our people to be destroyed by the ones which strangely are not seeking any other but making murders serially and taking what is not given. And all through started to making the Bleki in saying, I don't like this and and confusing the people around. And making the and a lot of people starting to praktika marhavesim, starting taktika v'tachava blevosuchve. And started to saying, I am not sure, but what I see, I don't like it, and I am tired, and I don't like this, and started feeling the I want all the pleasant life. I wish I'd have more air to breathe around, to going through and having the fulfillment of whatever I just can embrace like a person, and suddenly, I don't know, I can become such a very special. Where do I sign? Somebody can say. So plevi formace chalki mi revefechua blevisos levis fatletika and chalek ma revefechua blevisos blevisoshe. In plevi formace chalki vifovat chalevisot levisotche. In plefach matam. And all through this were the plika revefformace chalkishvasevan. So this one were cited and told but threatening to not tear them over. And started to make the pleasure for all the forward-sechaliki for the social the supplement makal repeti for the sechaliki. And started to making people having a very rare weird behavior and corrupting by making understand other things and deliver into other things and disappearing people all over. And started to taking positions and went the kingdom which were not instaurated, put it at a force. And there came yesterday. It's a wrong date, but it's exactly the date. Sekleki magar vefechol chabab levesoset levisosleki min rishalim. Revefechol chaleki visoseb levan. And these ones started to making disasters and putting peoples in agony, and whoever to be the nice ones to be with them had the benefit of whatever the crime to provide. Like Evangelistas Unidos, Kirchners, Hitler, and a whole associated like. So, and the reality were fulfilled the day in the La I'm gonna kill you. You are gonna know no other at the power, and you're gonna understand who is God Almighty. And the reality were people were not thinking fine, people were not having the judgment and started to watching differently, and the deflection of the reality were exactly the genocide. And whoever murdered, oh, they were doing wrong, don't you forget, we know what we do, we are the government. Sepleve formasechal kivi forvatsech levisoser, leplevi formatsechal diopleve soslevistet ledishkaltech machal kimovim, sepleve spantiti teshpavitim bismamalach choach edamak alut hu, levesoser levesosim. And people started to seeking the ways to surviving and fulfilling, and were trapped in a very mortal instant through lines which were not elementally nearing to have a breath to go through. And where the jumping up on the scapes, on the ranch, on the instance for escaped through the pleforim. And the FUFILL, where the plefach masechalivi plovesahua plevesos levit macharesasim atlin lim pleveforbatach lachmat levisasim, and the FUFILL, where plechat leti vishfosem plechmachech balaneti. So suddenly the reality for this were exactly fachmat sechalivi plevesut shelaktika berom sechmatim, and were strange reality with non-known ones, which neither invited or sin birthed at what Israel and Judah then used to be, and saying they were. So suddenly we found, in the middle of that all, Eladon delivers. And Eladon puts in orders. And Eladon brings judgment. And the judgment says, not invited, not allowed, feral conscience abominable, died. Sopleve format sechal kivi format sechal egimis ashir limpleve format sechal kivi savim. Agonically for the the whole that were corrupted and deflected wanted fulfilled and were fulfilling. Sembleve format sechal kivi forot levi social blevi format sechal kivi leplevi foplevi spatletik chetesh lechal chal at vesmitam remaplech machal and plesim. Once started to having the fulfill were the death line at the reality that couldn't ever breathe no more. Already sighted, already knew, and already watched whoever to Spomleve formasechal chelibleve sotlivis vatleshla chal chamaplekin marhavefechua sostal sitchelev remblave formasechalam, and the one that were fighting were Elchai and Menorah, flesh and bones. So suddenly, from kleki marhavefechua blevesoslevit leki marhavesem chavet mad, rising for the putting orders and rescuing and helping. And what exactly? We are the ones that commence, and we have the El Chai. Okay, meet me. Let's come for the right leg and I'm gonna put the people in responsibilities for what they understand and they to understand what is justice whenever I to show you what happens between you and I and what happens between the reality and the Chai. I am the one. I have the power. I got to be. He started to make the blech masim, raped 3 persons in front of me, murdered them, saying the sacrificial will give them the power, the divine power. So blech masim, the people watching and saying, where is the Chai there? Like totally off of conscience and totally sick, like this. And started to making the blech machal gilitzavim, which, perdón, por las situaciones, Yahweh, name, Kadosh, Avinu, El Chai, Elohim, Malkai, Malkeinu, Eloheinu, Elohai. Made in the plefe for the and once they turn to saying the name of Atzer Shepot Jadi, Balatu. The complete of the ambient word they were suppressed at the moment and converted in the plef of Masechanim and started to make the plef of Chuba plech Pachalkida Sisan. And the reality were pleki Revefuch Shasim. They were already abominable. And the reality were people present, and the reality for orders and understanding where is the institution and where is the abomination. Pharaoh. So suddenly happened the normal. At lesichret chani Eloi, Eloheinu. Vadleki verabashu dat tibatek ter roshechala kirtadi. Resechi kadosh leves bachleki miravesuch. Slaich matvasi, ratsiva, sneslu unam. Gilfesir letzi, testimony. He's not the, I command. He is. And he said, Felcha shlichefa, nablevet formasim. Justice. Now, Slotleki magrabefechod lebesfach lachem atzivam, litzelishalki bachuba blefefoch bat shel atzimi, lika magrabesechi lebesosablimi. One holder, and you have a future worse hell. Learned everything were done, studies for more, and makes worse seeking who to companion, taking the coin life. Or the sick I command life, and makes worse than the ones which that one were taking off. And the FUFILL gets in a whisper of death, and FUFILL pretends to be God. Now, Fleptikam refuchu bachlachava glesivika reshechalchalagam, leblevis forlanis matlakim borovafochot shechalachama blevisoselikimiti. Judgment we gotta say because of the testimony cannot be understood. Anybody can make the story of the possibility of, do you believe? The reality is only as reality is shown, not a state of conscience of a collectivity, or a collective number, community, or a nation, but the reality itself which expresses. And the clear fact of the conscience and the judgment, conscient, forgive me for this, or conscientiously, which is not conscience word, and conscientized, let's put it. Came conscient in terrible way, because of his terrible in plebi formes masin. But conscientized understands nothing is like cat's bags. We don't put cats in bags. And we have differences between cats. So you have, like we were discussing, the cat that wants to run from the mess of the disaster because of them wants to be one and another in a very dark and a black so wants to run. The one that says, well, when I do, I defend myself, and the other that says, I want everything and I'm gonna. So, even cats has differences, human much more, at the reality who we exist complex in. And we exist the reality of who each identity of us we are. So you have the feral, you have the one that, okay, where is my point? Benefit, not benefit, reality, no reality. The one that says, put them out, I'm living. You don't put them in the bag. You take the one, rescue the one that needs to get out because of them, wants to know nothing about those, and wants them out to that, okay, help. The one that is confused, okay, the opportunistic, get out. And the feral, you reduce it. No bags. Sobleki marrefechua blevesochla hishvasecham, lemblevifor masechal hibito blesesasivi. Am blevifor masechal kibi revefor alfisasilam, shlevifor masech alatika. Soblevifor masichni. Seplevifor atika, revachli, vaseplevifor masechal kibi soserche. Am blevifor masechal kibi for blevesoseplevis mateshe. Lindladi kamar revefechua blevesoseplevis matlem. Conscience. Conscience. Fulfilled to truth. Slepa revefechua blevesvot lekima revesechal shel achmatzinan. Achmatzin. We don't say mind problem. We don't say psychiatry to the will, to the intention to cover. And we don't say psychiatry to the victim to suppress and shock or murder. And that is a cat's bag with nothing but abominations and criminals to make it a job, which we suffer like. You don't say authority of the nation to the one that makes abominations and organized criminals in the whatever argument, and you don't say rebuild an activist, an element for terrorism and criminal against the state, and the nation is not about to putting all together for them to be the mess of the generations we need. We don't do that. We make justice. And the understanding is fulfilled, conscienced reality, truth, reality, judgment to say. Soblebe formasechal kibiforo dishvat lebesvachal achamatin, seplebi foro vesvachal achmat lebisot lebisvachali, enkleki mavrasechal lebesosel. Lailaktika mavrefechud lebesoslegi bachrevat lachmachal kimita, and seplebi foro shechal kimida. It's impossible to say he commands because of has the title or the badge or the position, and the one that is asking for that one to be dismissed because of it destroying the life, you submit and the bag. We don't do that. delivers and the market of abominations they do. But the judgment is what is what, who is whom, and what happens between. And how the bag acts, and how the reality of the inside acts, and the ones that makes the bag to remain, and inside what doesn't have to be, no bag, no inside, and the one that pretends that to be. And understanding how moves, which is too heavy for a bag, for cats, and for the one that puts them. At the macro, we are every day suffering and still thirst to make. And with this, I command, and I am the one that domains, I say first. Like. Sepleva formosehaligi before sechli sofali, meplavit mohabe fochod lechavi plati visotlevisat leshelaitika rave focholachan, lablevesua blevesot levispat letika rave fechol halekivisam, lia lefot levisot levispok masechal vispot levisut shelekimar masichim. Laptivot lekima rave fechol letsiva blevesot shelak, roat sechol beplavas motevish podevipok masechal vivat. להצילה בפלקים הרוויחו בלבסות לביסות שלקיבי רוויחל חמה בלביסמות של גלפורת חליקה רוויסופת. לבלבים הבלביפורון מפרחלקי בלביפוחות חמה בלביסות הבלבים. For you have an idea, are reproducing still the whole I'm doing and saying that Sodoma y Gomorra, abominables infernales Argentina, con Sodoma y Gomorra evangelista Guillermo Nasrein y asociados, are going to make Pesaj. And repeating what I'm saying and doing the video of what I do, saying that I'm the liar, I think I do something and I gotta be internated and put in jail because of I robbed them. Like with the rest all. And are exactly this. Bolsa de criminales y degenerados pretending to put in our lives for they to have the body in. And who makes the bag? Sembleve forrove sechalachimi bleve soseblimide. Letsel kuwashela ki rave fochot chalgi visofelan. Latselekime rave fochu shvetlikachma chalge soflevime. Letsvetlikime rave fochua bleve soshevet. Latselekime rave fochu blechava bleve sosemelvim. We're always gestalt Masonry Evangelistas Unidos with them. Always. And this all associated between the Pharaoh, between the one that wants to run, and between the one that is watching the opportunism few and others where to stand and what to do. At the imminential, because of his imminential possibility to die, imminential. Sorry. In. Sorry for that. And reality 4, FUFILL has the sickness of the day with no problem. Feeling with not understanding but just going through what senses provides. And fulfilled saying, let me go. And certainly fact, there are who doesn't change us because of has the normal will and understanding which obstinately precedes Pharaoh. And there is the one that destroyed and healed has the normal breaking out and scrambled at the conscience while we are working and making understanding. And there are who is trying to run, which is murdered. And not have to be. So pleva ferma sichalikivi forate halvisot levisoshel, remapleki marafechua plevesot levispat levesot lepsiga. Lektachal hamaplech machal habaplevesot bua plevesoseliki, relexi habaplech machal visofeshola. Sembleve forma sechalkivi forchopach levisoselesmat. Am bleves machlikan, maar refechua blevesosalim. Laila tikale rave fochot chalekim fochot shelech machalekivit. Lepligif motleki marvefechot chaligisot shela sechmachal implevasam. So suddenly I am crossing too much evil at the conscience of this abominables, and are who holds the bag? Which we have too much problem and threats to destroying everybody and everything. But even though we save judgment, fulfilling the day, but the reality of what justice happens in real. Now, Slemba Rabbe Fechol Blevesmatzachlik Ishvad Lemechal Leblevefor Vesechal Levesoshlegim Ablech Machal Biob Levesosavim. Lableveforos Chalekim Rafachal Lofak Levesosim. Letligama Rabbe Fechol Blevesosaresh Vasimar. Lentligima Rabbe Fechoatse, and Seveshvog Levesosmat, Bablekimam. Slekimir and Sechamavim. There happened a very special blefte vormit in Blevespotlikim Barabes Vasimar. And before this all being, it happened the Bleviferazech Machal Givisochim, and Eladon, where the Blevis for Vesechal Givisoshev, Mashiach Elachachai. So Blevis Matlikim Machavasachuat Seman, Gilevs Maravisive, Setlem. Through realities and points in and points out, line in and line out. Pattern and permanent element for chronicity and chronically. While through this all same symptomatics. Spanach mut shlakim bachvatsim bachlat schalatu rabet bashvet slavat achnachal baslovis matvisim smoblevisasana. Badlemin, Sashar, Badlebar. At the obvious. Naturally, Blech Masechal el Kvab Levisoch Masichel Vesoshalim Ismasimi. Blech Masechal, Leblevifoch Masechal Gidisosel, Leblevesim, Blech Machal Ablesim. Bleves Modlevis Magraves Sesimide. In Sublev, Chovetplat. Small Bleves Mod and Bleves Mod Rabes Fachisim. Sleki Bagraves Fechuat Seba Bleves Mosechalam. Bleves Mod Haligish Ot Vitak Het Ad Shelam. And Bleves Mod Rabes Fechalis Modim. Bleves Mod Rabes Fechalis Soselem. And suddenly he were there. And Eladon, Havanenu, Yeshua. Yeshua has said, Elachachai, Mashiach. Wherewith a bleve for motzi ba bleve for shechalemi for chatzes vasim, kadosh shalom. And understood the bleve